Now, what can ruin that? Like if I'm eating nuts, like I try not to eat salted nuts, but what about the ones, I think some of them have oils, they're cooked in oils, aren't they?
Yeah.
So where do you have to go to like Whole Foods to get the proper nuts? You know, are there places that do, I don't like Walmart, I don't think even has unsalted nuts, but
yeah, it's crazy.
You know, what places, what kind of nuts are you looking for?
It's so hard to find good nuts. And you won't find it here.
We only have 3 between us, so
you won't find it here. Hello and welcome to Healthiest. I'm here with my good friend Wes, and today we're going to be covering all kinds of cool stuff. So specifically, if you're interested in losing some body fat, we're going to cover that. We'll talk about nutrition. We'll talk about fitness and even some health hacks and kind of how all of that stuff ties into losing body fat, because I think that's one of the biggest problems that most people have, I would say, today. And did you know, like, statistically, it's something like 57% of adult men are overweight or obese?
I would agree with that.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
I could see that.
Yeah. But anyways, I want to check in with you because I know you've been working on your nutrition and your fitness to get yourself down in weight. Where are we at?
I had a terrible week. I was sick up until today.
Yeah.
So I really haven't done anything, but I didn't like anything really bad. But
are you down?
Could not work out. I wanted to weigh myself today, but I don't think so. I think I probably went up a little bit because there was a couple of dinners where it just tasted really good and I kept going. And
there's something about being sick. Like if you're sick, I'm attracted more to like comfort food, like the stuff that I used to love to eat when I was a kid.
I ate a lot of fruit.
Okay.
So
that's cool.
I tried to be cool about it. I didn't eat like nothing really that bad. It was just, like not that good either, but a lot in excess, a little, but I couldn't work out. I was coughing really bad until today. I feel good. So nice. I'll be back at it tomorrow.
Awesome. Back in the gym.
Yeah. Better update for you.
Yeah. Well, it's a work in progress, right? Like, and there's always going to be pitfalls. Anytime I start working with somebody, people, a lot of times they ask me like, how long is it going to take for me to lose X amount of weight? Or how long is it going to take me to get back into shape? And I'm like, there's so many variables, right? Like things have to kind of line up appropriately in order for you to get the best results in the shortest amount of time. Injuries and illness, those things are the things that set people back the most. But even like family and busyness and all kinds of stuff can kind of get in the way.
I was kind of hoping for like a stomach bug, so maybe I'd lose some weight from not eating. But that was like the one thing I could do was eat, drink a lot of tea.
Nice. So you're hoping for something where you're sick enough where you just don't have to eat.
Go throw up for a few days.
Perfect.
No, I'm just kidding. But no, I could not. I was feeling kind of bad when I was here last time, and the next day was really bad. Like the next 3 days, and then yesterday was kind of on the up and up. In the evening, I started feeling a little bit better, and then today I haven't coughed or anything.
Nice.
So I felt good.
All right, well, good to have you back on board.
Yeah,
and we'll be looking forward to a couple of pounds next week.
Maybe if I get some health hacks.
Health hacks. Nice transition.
Thank you.
Well done. Yeah, health hacks. So let's talk about health hacks because there's so many different things in like health hacks in my mind. People ask me about these things all the time, and we'll touch on them, but they are kind of hacks. Right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like a lot of people don't have the foundations, but let's go over these.
Okay. So what are some of your favorite health hacks?
Favorite health hacks? Well, let's kind of go back to what I was originally saying, because I think this is important and it's probably worth touching on. Most people are looking for the magic pill. Honestly, like most people. They want to know, like, what should I be doing? What's the easy thing? What about this supplement? What about, this thing or that thing? And, something maybe that they've read on the internet or seen on YouTube or something. And I'm like, well, before we get into that, tell me first about what your diet looks like. And usually I get this look of like, yeah, it's not so good. I'm like, well, the first thing that you need to do is you need to start then, right? Okay. Are you exercising? And they're like, not really. Well, I go out for a walk. I'm like, maybe we need to talk about that first, right? Like the foundations of like losing weight and keeping it off start with the stuff that nobody wants to do. Like eat healthy and like work out.
Yeah.
Right. Sleep good at night. Like these are the pillars of living your life not fat, right? Like if you want to live super, super healthy and not look like you've got a spare tire around the midsection, you got to eat good and you got to exercise and you have to sleep good at night. Get those 3 things dialed in first, and then we can start talking health hacks.
Okay.
So health hacks I like, and only because I've got this beautiful foundation already built from just years of doing this. But now that I've got that, one of the things that I absolutely love is the sauna.
Sauna, really?
Sauna.
Okay.
I love the sauna.
What are the benefits of using a sauna?
Well, one of the cool things is there's been a ton of research on the sauna,
really,
on like longevity and just how likely you are to die early. And the research is really, really good. And it shows that if you get in the sauna, I think it's a minimum of 3 times a week at somewhere around 165 degrees, that all-cause mortality goes down by like 50%.
Really?
It's bananas. Don't quote me on those numbers. Like, go check. But the research has been so good and repeated time and time again that I think nobody can disagree anymore that heat, like heating up your body, is really, really good for you.
Is there anything is too much sauna?
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I think obviously you can do too much of anything.
Like nonstop. I mean, like if you did it once a day, would that be probably good? Or
I'm thinking more of the dose. Like if you sit in, 165 degrees for like 4 hours, that's not a good idea.
That is like the cooked temperature of chicken. So.
Yeah. It's amazing how much you can tolerate, especially if you build it up. Like when I first started doing it, like I would get really uncomfortable after 15 minutes at 165. And now I can sit in there for like an hour.
Really?
Yeah. It's pretty amazing. Your body will adapt.
Wow.
Yeah.
But so an hour, would you say, is an average time, or how long?
I think the research showed, I think it was 100. It was either 165 or 185 for 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Okay.
Yeah. I think that's what it was.
Interesting.
Yeah. I go a little bit longer just because why not?
What do you do in there? Just meditate or something? Or
no,
read the paper?
I usually listen to podcasts.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll bring my computer in there, but once I start sweating, like I got to put the computer away because you just sweat everywhere. But it feels good. It's amazing. I love being sweaty.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something good. Like
I do love a sauna.
Yeah.
What about a cold plunge? Have you ever done that?
I have not.
I'm kind of interested, but at the same time, it sounds awful.
Yeah.
Do you know, are there any benefits to doing that? I hear Mark Wahlberg's really into that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's in pretty good shape.
Dude, all the gurus right now, I'm sure if you've listened to Huberman or Atia or Rhonda Patrick, like all of them are on this cold plunge kick.
Yeah.
Like it's like the latest and greatest. There's likely some benefits, but I don't think the benefits are as profound as what we've seen in sauna right now. If we look at it just from a research perspective.
What if you do one and then the other?
Yeah, but possibly. Yeah. I think do
they cancel each other out?
No. No. So here's the way that I kind of look at it.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I mean, there's some, like one of the things that they found, and again, this is one research study. So you always have to be a little bit skeptical sometimes if it's just, there's like one, there's this study, right? But it turns out when you look at the study, there were like 4 people and they were 75 years old and they never work out.
Yeah. Like
right?
this one time.
Yeah. This one time, right?
Yeah.
Is it repeatable? Like that's a big thing. But anyways, there was one like that showed if you jump in the sauna, if you jump in the cold plunge first and then you work out, the testosterone levels go up way higher than if you just went into a workout.
Really?
Yeah. There's something to be said for this heating up process that's supposed to generate more testosterone. Again, I don't think the research is very good on that. So I'm always like, So the cold plunge, I'm not too sure. But there's this thing called hormesis. Have you heard of that before?
No.
So hormesis is basically anytime we challenge your body above and beyond like normal.
Okay.
Right? Like if you're just sitting down watching TV, you're kind of at like this normal level physiologically.
So for me, anything beyond sitting down and watching TV.
Yes, right. Yeah, pretty much for all of us. Anytime like heart rate goes up, anytime we're kind of challenging the system a little bit.
What was it called again?
Hormesis.
Hormesis.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's all kinds of different ways that obviously we can challenge the system.
Okay.
Right? We can heat it up. We can cool it down significantly.
Yes.
We can exercise, right? You can even get sick, like that's hormesis, right? Anything that challenges your system has this, we call it a hormetic effect.
Okay.
And if the dose is appropriate, you should be able to adapt and get better.
That makes sense. I believe
and depending on whatever the stimulus is, whatever that challenge is, there's a different physiological response to each of those kinds of challenges.
Okay.
Right. So there's a different physiological response, obviously, to being cold than there is to being hot. And you get in like heat shock proteins and cold shock proteins. There's all kinds of different interesting things, even like fasting. Right. If you're fasted, you're in a completely different physiological state and your body is kind of stressed out because it's not getting food. Right. So all of these things, I think, to some degree, just on a big global level, have some benefits physiologically. Hormesis. Yeah. There's a hormetic effect. So if you want to keep yourself in really good shape, if you want to keep yourself healthy, if you want to keep yourself young, I think it's really important to challenge yourself.
Okay.
Right. And that's where some of these
into hormesis.
Yeah. You have to do hard things.
Yeah.
Right.
Of
like
course.
you got it. Like if you don't do hard things, if you're just living, just sitting there watching TV every single day, you're not going to.
That's what I'm constantly telling my kids. Do something hard.
Yeah. Do something hard. Yeah.
Beneficial, I would say.
100%. Yeah. And it goes for everything from, just even just mental work. Sometimes it's good to like really tax your brain and try to figure something out or to get some, to put yourself under some sort of duress or some sort of stress. Like all of those things I think are just part of being the best version of yourself that you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I think like retirement for a lot of people isn't great.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because you just kind of,
you got to have like a hobby or something.
Yeah.
Something you really like to do. I think that would be good.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
could be detrimental. It is detrimental.
Sitting there and doing nothing. Yeah.
I mean, how many people do you know, like they retire and then all of a sudden, 6 months down the road, they've got some debilitating disease or something terrible happens.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
the ones that seem to keep going always seems to do better. Keep doing stuff, stay active.
Yeah. 100%. Yep. So lean into the hard work, lean into the hard stuff. So again, build your foundations. Like I think that's really, really important. And then you can kind of play with some of these other things. I've got friends that do the cold plunge and they freaking love it. Like they feel
what temperature they do? Any idea?
I mean, it depends. Like the hardcore guys, I think they're in like 30 some degrees, like high 30s, like just above freezing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But the amount of time that you spend in there decreases.
Do you know how long how long a session would be?
Well, there's a guy, have you heard of Wim Hof?
Mm-hmm.
So Wim Hof is the guy that kind of made this all really, really popular.
Okay.
I'm going to say maybe 10 years ago. And he's this guy that lost his wife, got really depressed, and all of a sudden just started like just walking around in the freezing cold weather in his underwear.
Just done with it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look up Wim Hof. But the interesting thing is like now this guy can go into like he'll break the ice open on a lake and he'll go in there for like hours.
No kidding.
Yeah. So you can train your body shockingly to be able to withstand, huh?
Is he in really good shape?
I mean,
he's probably old, huh?
He looks like a caveman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's got like long raggedy hair. He looks kind of weathered and beat up, but he can literally, like, I think he climbed a mountain or something barefoot and with like no shirt,
oh my God,
bare shorts. Yeah. So this guy's,
he just lives
he's playing on a whole nother level.
Yeah. Lives in the cold.
He's adapted himself to cold.
Do you think he likes the sauna?
It's a good question, right? Yeah.
Might melt him.
Yeah.
It just thaw. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, he might just melt. He's literally the Iceman.
Yeah.
They call him the Iceman. Yeah, but he's got like this whole breathing technique. Like there's the Wim Hof method breathing technique. So he'll teach that. He's got all these like followers, so he'll do a camp where they'll all go up to like Alaska or something. And
I have a hard time taking a cold shower.
Like, I'm with you. Yeah. Part of me is like, I just don't like doing it.
Yeah.
And if I'm getting this hormetic effect, like I'm challenging myself really hard in exercise. I challenge myself really hard with my work. I challenge myself really hard in different areas of my life, like even just sometimes like fasting, like things like that. I'm doing enough hard things. This is how I justify it in my mind that I don't want to add being cold.
Yeah.
And again, I'm biased. I'm like you. I don't like being cold. I just hate it.
Yeah.
I just freaking hate it. I grew up in Wisconsin. I've been cold enough. I'm done.
Yeah, I can attest to that. You're always cold.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. One of the first times we went out, Wes was nice enough to lend me his jacket.
We've been together ever since. But
it's true love.
Yeah.
It's true love.
No, I had enough fat on me to keep me warm.
That is one of the benefits, I think, of having being one of the 57%. But
that's what's hard when it gets around the holidays. Sometimes my mind will tell me, "No, you're just stocking up for the winter." Like
Are you serious?
Yeah. And it's like this weird game that I'm like, no, I'm like, I don't know.
Isn't it funny how your brain, it will
mess with-
make up a story
Yeah.
to justify whatever position that you're in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like today I was looking, I was going through like the cabinet and I saw a piece of chocolate, like Dove chocolate, like good dark chocolate. And I was like, you know, chocolate has some good, they say there's like, you know, some benefits to darker chocolate.
Sure.
But
Somewhere.
I didn't eat it. So my rule still is like just try not to do any added sugars at minimum.
Nice.
And so I did drink some orange juice yesterday, and then I looked at the label, and it was 6 grams. I was so pissed.
Oh, 6. That's low.
Oh,
I would have
really?
thought it would have been more.
Oh man, I had no idea.
I think juices are one of the secret saboteurs.
Really?
Yeah. You got to be really careful with juice.
Yeah. What about like if it was no added anything, like raw juice, like it's still same?
Yeah. Still a problem. So the problem with juice is they literally extract the sugar into that liquid form, and that liquid form gets absorbed through the gut so fast that your blood sugar like jacks up super, super fast. And last time we talked about like that insulin thing.
Yeah.
The only way that your body can reduce the amount of sugar that's flowing in your blood is to send out a bunch of insulin. And you're trying to avoid that if you want to lose weight, body fat specifically.
Do you know anything about stevia? Like I'm starting to think that it probably has the same exact effect on your body that sugar does. Am I wrong?
Really?
I don't know. I just a fear that I have that I don't want to know if it's true.
No, I don't think it's true. Yeah, it doesn't have that effect.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's one of the benefits of stevia.
And it's like a natural plant, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're cool with stevia?
Yeah. I think if I had to choose between like cane sugar, processed cane sugar, and stevia, I'm going stevia 100%.
And I'm talking like snorting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. How else would you do it?
I don't know.
Well, I suppose you get injected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cook it on a spoon. Yeah.
Just kidding.
Shoot it up.
Don't do that.
Do not shoot up stevia like heroin. If you have, tell us in the comments.
Tell us how that went.
Call 911 and then while you're waiting.
Yeah. But no, stevia I think is all right. It's good.
All right.
And I've had folks who, have you seen those they call them CGMs, continuous glucose monitors? Have you seen those?
I don't think so, but I picture like one of those medicine release things or something. What is it? Is it
kind of
an
look like
electronic
that
device?
Yeah, so they attach to your arm, and like all the health nerds are wearing them now.
Oh, really?
And you can watch in real time on your phone what your blood sugar is doing, like moment by moment. And I've had people, I have clients that wear a CGM just because they're
so you can like
in that data.
tinker with it just to keep it at a level that you want.
Yeah, so you can see what spikes your blood sugar the most.
Can you like, if it starts spiking, you could like eat something to send it back down?
You could try.
That'd be kind of cool.
It is. It's kind of fun.
Wow.
You can play with it.
But
stevia has not affected that glucose.
No kidding.
Yeah, we've tested it.
Wow.
Yeah. But with that being said, it's interesting because I've known multiple people that have worn those CGMs. Some people are affected differently with some things than other people. Mm-hmm. And I'll just give you an example. Like I've got one client who, when he eats ice cream, his blood sugar doesn't spike.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Which goes against everything I would have ever guessed. Inconsistently. Right. But if he eats cashews, his blood sugar spikes.
Cashews?
Yeah.
No kidding. Yeah. And this guy's not a liar?
Shout out to Scott. Scott, are you a liar?
I'm sure.
Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, let us know if you're a liar, Scott.
Yeah, I don't think he's a liar. But yeah,
no, that's awesome. Though. I kind of want one of those.
It's super interesting.
I eat a lot of cashews, and I don't eat ice cream.
Yeah,
not when I'm being good.
Yeah, and I think some of it has to do with the fat content. That's sort of our hypothesis. If there's a lot of fat in it, it doesn't get absorbed into the bloodstream quite as quickly. That's just what we think it might be.
Oh, okay.
I'm not 100% sure of that.
So if you're going to eat ice cream, eat the full fat
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vitamin D.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think about protein shakes?
Ooh, protein shakes.
I used to drink when I was like in it, and I was watching doing my macros and all that stuff and keeping track of everything on the app.
Yeah.
A protein shake was like my go-to if like I was low on calories, because I could get I'd go find one that had no added sugars and like 20 grams and down it. And by then it tasted good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what's in that? I didn't look at the labels. I was like, as long as it had no added sugar, I was living in ignorance. I'm sure there was.
Yeah. I'm always of the belief that we want to derive the majority of our foods from Mother Nature. Meat, veggie, nuts, seeds, and fruit, right? If we can eat the majority of our foods from those categories, I'll say it again, meat, veggie, nuts, seeds, and fruit, that's where you're going to become your most healthful self.
So are protein shakes, I thought those were when you milk the bull and not the cow.
I see what you did there.
Am I doing it the wrong way?
I am not a protein shake advocate by any means.
Is that
only because it's highly processed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so processed that.
Well, and that would be dairy too, right? Like, I mean, is all dairy highly processed that we would? Is there any dairy that's not highly processed?
Not really. And if you think like the prescription that I give, meat, veggie, nuts, seeds, and fruit, there's no dairy in it.
I know.
And that's a question I get all the time. It's like, well, what about dairy?
I know. It reminds me of that Brian Regan bit when his doctor told him no more dairy. And he was like, oh, and no more happiness. You know? So
yeah. Like, it is funny, like dairy, like cheese. Like I love cheese.
I do too.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That's a snack I eat a lot.
Yeah. But I think like I call those preferred others. Like the dairy category is generally a preferred other. Okay. And what do I mean by that? Meat, veggie, nuts, seeds, and fruit. But you don't have to be 100% to meat, veggie, nuts, seeds, and fruit. Be 80% meat, veggie, nuts, seeds, and fruit. Be 20% of the other category foods. There's preferred others. Okay. And just like, I don't give a shit others. Yeah. Like you drink beer, alcohol, right? Whiskey, eat the donuts. Yeah. There's just a lot of others you want to avoid.
Is there anything that is never, like corn syrup or something? I feel like to me that's a never food.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with
like
you.
Candy or something.
I think there are some really egregious things.
Yeah.
So hard to say for sure, but the more processed and the more concentrated the sugar content is, the faster that spikes your blood sugar. Especially if you're looking for weight loss, specifically body fat loss. You want to really try to avoid those things. I would say drinks, sugary drinks. Yeah. Like soda, awful.
A never.
If I had to pick a never, it would be alcohol and soda.
Yeah.
If I could pick the two biggest ones.
Is there any food like if you were starving to death, you wouldn't do it?
Probably soda and alcohol.
Yeah. Wow.
Those would be the two things.
That's cool.
Yeah.
No, that's good. Okay.
But yeah, protein shakes, I'm not a fan. If you want, a lot of people I don't think eat enough protein. I believe that. But I think if you can, get it from meat.
Yeah.
Get it from good meat.
Yeah.
That's going to serve you so much better because you're going to get much more than just protein. You're going to get all kinds of vitamins and minerals. When I remember a long time ago, like I have a lady that I would get my meat from, and she had mentioned to me, like when she sees her cows out on pasture, she sees them as vitamins walking around out in pasture, right? So they're consuming the grass and then we eat the cow. So we're getting all the vitamins from Mother Nature, right? Like it's a much more valuable source of energy than a processed, protein shake.
What's your favorite cut of meat?
I gotta go with beef.
Yeah, like a steak.
You know what? My favorite is ground beef.
Really?
Yeah. I would have like really good ground beef over a filet.
No kidding.
Yeah. With the right amount of fat.
What are you putting in?
Nothing.
Nothing? Seasoning or anything?
No.
Salt and pepper?
No. Sometimes I put a little bit of ketchup.
Okay.
Stevia ketchup.
No kidding.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to look for stevia ketchup.
Yeah. But no, plain. But I'm also kind of a boring eater. Like I don't really like to cook. So browning meat is so easy for me. And I don't really care that much about what it tastes like. So it's just super simple.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I've grown to love it.
Are there any meats that you would try maybe aren't as good as is there a ranking to what's more beneficial versus less?
That's a great question. You know what I think where we've kind of lost our way with meat is everybody's, especially our age group, we've been told that fat is bad. So the lean meats, like chicken breast. Yeah. Chicken breast is like, it's pure protein, but there's no fat. And I think there's so many reasons why we should be getting fat in our diets.
Really? What percentage? Like the most?
I think like the true diehard meat eaters are like, you should eat the whole animal.
Okay.
Like eat everything.
Just eat it all.
Yeah. Like you should be eating the dark meat, the white meat. If you're only eating chicken breast, you're missing out.
Okay.
So you have to get some of the fatty stuff. Eat the chicken wing, eat the thigh, eat all of the meat.
Okay.
Same thing with beef. Like, if you're going to have, what I love about ground beef is they kind of ground all that stuff together And then they even add in a little bit of fat. So it's like the perfect balance of like everything.
Okay.
You're not just getting muscle tissue. You're also getting, depending on who the butcher is, you'll get some organ meat, you'll get some fat, like everything is in there.
Really?
So it's like, in my opinion, it's the best way to eat your meat is ground. Get it from a good processor.
What about red versus white, like red meats versus white? Are there, for some reason in my mind, to me, it's like if you have too much red meat, it's like raise your cholesterol or something like that. Is that true? Or
that's another great question. Yeah. And I think all that's finally been debunked.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We can put that aside. So don't be afraid of fat. Don't be afraid of red meat. You know, if you really nerd out and you really dig into this stuff and you're not just reading the headlines from the latest news article or, you know, some dumb headline you see on Facebook, if you really dig into that stuff, you'll see that there's a lot of flaws in a lot of that research, and a lot of it has been debunked.
Do you think most of it's marketing?
I think there's a lot of influence there. Yeah. There's a lot of money. Like if you understood the amount of money, there's lobbyists for the meat groups. There's lobbyists for the big soda groups. Like it's crazy how much money is in food.
I believe that.
It's crazy.
Like when I grew up, I thought milk was so healthy.
They told us, right?
I can't.
You got to drink milk.
If I drink it now, it's rough.
Yeah,
it's bad.
And they homogenize it. They pasteurize it. So you know, we could even argue that some of that processing has ruined the value of milk.
What is lactate milk?
I think it's lactose-free milk. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. What does that mean?
They take the sugar out of it.
So the sugar's what's...
Yeah. So lactose is a sugar that you find in milk.
So is that better for you?
I mean, some people claim to be lactose intolerant, which there likely could be. But so I think for those folks that might
like
be
for me,
valuable.
If I eat cereal, which I try not to do ever, if I'm on a good diet, but if I don't care,
yeah,
I would love it. But if I don't have lactose-free milk,
it bothers you.
I will have major stomach problems.
Yeah,
ice cream, it's worth it.
Yeah, yeah. There's certain things that are worth it.
Yeah,
I call those gotta haves.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's pizza. Once in a while,
dude, pizza always sounds good.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah. I try not to eat it when I'm on my diet, and then once a week maybe or something. If like 20%.
20%. Yeah, you don't have to be perfect.
Preferred favorite, right? Not a preferred. What do you call it? Preferred option? Is that what you
preferred other?
Preferred other. Yeah, it's not probably not one of those, is it?
You're talking about the pizza
and your scale, yeah, pizza.
Yeah, it's not a preferred other.
No,
I want to try to avoid that.
Yeah.
But going back to lactate, people blame lactose, but there's been plenty of instances where someone will drink raw milk. And I know everybody freaks out over raw milk. Not everybody. I think most normal people don't freak out about it anymore. But if you drink raw milk, that's not
fight you.
It's not
talking about raw milk.
Highly processed.
No,
that gets some views.
I know nothing.
we just start beating the crap. Rock'em sock'em robots.
Did you say raw milk?
You're going down. You're going down.
Just jump over the desk and tag me.
It'd be like a Chris Farley move. break the table.
That's where I draw the line. You know, I've heard like rumblings about raw milk on.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know where, but I think I've seen like scrolling headlines. Oh, raw milk, and then just keep going. You know,
yeah, it's outlawed.
What's the deal?
You can go to jail for buying raw milk.
Are you kidding me?
No, like it's literally outlawed.
Do you know
so you have to, if you're going to buy it from a farmer, because you can get it from a farmer, but you have to do it in kind of a weird way. Like you have to pay for the cow, and then they milk it and deliver it to you, and they have to label it as pet food.
Do you have any connections?
I do.
Oh,
I got you, buddy.
All
I got you. Yeah. But what's interesting is if someone who's lactose intolerant drinks raw milk, they don't have any problems.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what do you think triggers that? Because I didn't used to.
Yeah.
I used to be cool.
The answer, I don't really know.
You okay?
I think it's again, I got a hypothesis, but I don't know for sure. I think it's just the processing.
Yeah, probably.
It's partly the processing and partly maybe how the cows are raised.
What do you know about processing? I know nothing about anything, remember? But what does that mean, processing food? Like adding stuff to it or what? Or
it can be. I mean, if you really get down to the nitty gritty of it, like even butchering an animal is processing.
Okay.
Right. But anything, I think if you're adding a lot of things to it,
ultra processing, how would you define that?
Yeah. I think it's like where you take something from its natural state and pretty much completely change it.
Okay.
You know, like, so taking the lactose out of milk, like that's something that you'll never find in Mother Nature.
Yeah.
Right. You got to take it to a laboratory you got to do some science stuff on it.
What if there's what if you find like a cow that has one of those glucose meters on it?
Wow. There might be. Yeah.
It's like, nope, this grass is doing it. I got to go get some hay or whatever.
Yeah. But processing, I mean, if it doesn't, there's a great saying that I heard. I forget who it was. I think it might have been, who's the girl? Jillian Michaels, is that her name?
Yes.
The girl from.
She was the fitness lady, right?
Yeah. What was the show she was on? What was that show?
I don't know.
Biggest Loser.
Oh.
Yeah, I think she's the one that said this. But she said, if it doesn't have a mother or it didn't come from the ground, then it's not real food.
Okay.
So I think the closer you get to that, the less processed it is. The further you get away from that, the more processed it is.
And that doesn't mean like if your mom left you, it's.
Yeah. We don't think that. Yeah.
Still count.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Just kidding. You don't care. No, just kidding.
Yeah. But yeah, I think processing food is a really bad idea. Ultra processed.
Yeah. I forget what they were making, but I could not believe it. It was like, I was just amazed at like how much powder and stuff they put in it to make. I forget what it was.
You say powder?
Yeah. Like I thought it was like ground something or I can't remember. Maybe it was like ham or something, or like lunch meat. I don't remember, but it was like these powders they were putting in this thing. It was like an anti-processed food ad or something. I don't know. It was crazy. Maybe it was chips. Might have been chips. I can't remember.
There's all kinds of wild stuff out there.
I think it was chips, actually. I think they were cutting up the potatoes, but then like all the powder. I was like, it's not even food anymore. It's just like, who knows what that is?
Yeah.
What do you think about this microplastics reporting?
Oh, I know, right?
Yeah.
That's scary.
Like you try to stay away from plastic, don't you?
Yeah.
I've noticed that.
Yeah. I've been back. Well, I'm a cancer survivor.
Yeah.
I had testicular cancer. And I wonder, I don't know for sure, but I wonder if that had something to do with it, because one of the effects of plastic is it messes with your hormones.
Okay.
And it messes with things that create hormones. So you want to be, I think now, again, there's enough research out there to show that you want to try to avoid this as much as possible. You can't avoid it completely. Like apparently it's because even our clothes, there's plastics in our clothes. Like they're petroleum-based
like in the vegetables now.
It's everywhere. Yeah. You just can't get away from it.
It's crazy.
So you really want to be worried. But I think one of the easiest things to do is stop drinking out of plastic.
Yeah.
Stop. And don't cook plastic in the microwave.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in college, like those plastic bowls, like the really cheap plastic bowls. Because when you're in college, I didn't have any money. So I used the cheapest plastic bowls. And I would make spaghetti after I got home from the bar. And like I'd fill it up with water and I'd put my nose in there and I'd put it in the microwave and I'd shut it and I'd cook it. And I remember the bowls would actually bubble and melt into the, I didn't care.
I'm like, if you put it in long enough and it melts, I wouldn't put it in there.
Yeah. And I was eating that like,
oh my gosh,
probably for years. Like, no wonder I got cancer.
You know what? It was weird though. Yesterday I made a pot of coffee and it tasted plasticky. It made me feel weird. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'd love to have a metal coffee maker.
Yeah.
Or maybe
I've been looking for them.
They have those the glass ones that you can
do the pour over.
But it's so slow and like it makes so little.
Even the French press has a little plastic ring in it.
Yes. Yeah.
It's got plastic.
Yeah. And we wonder why it is everywhere.
It's everywhere.
You know what? From now on, we're going full on anti-plastic on this podcast. That's
nice. Yeah. You got that. That's good.
Yeah. This is metal, except for the top.
Yeah.
Just filtered through the plastic.
Right. But at least it's not resting in the plastic.
Yeah.
Heating up plastic, I think, is really bad. And then those really cheap water bottles.
I like ceramic. I've been wanting to just go ceramic on my to-go coffee mug because it tastes the best.
Yeah. Agreed. Better glass.
Glass, yeah. Except coffee.
Those are the best. Yeah. Those are the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a serious concern. That's a huge concern of mine too. And I think even water, like if you're drinking tap water, you got to be careful of that as well.
Yeah, I don't ever drink the tap water. I drink it out of the fridge.
Yeah.
Apparently, a filter is better,
Oh, 100%. So the more filtered you can get, because man, I wouldn't trust the water anymore.
That big plastic cover it's in, the filter.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Well, it's funny, I'm obsessive about the water that I drink. So I get RO water, reverse osmosis. So it's a filtering process. But
I learned about reverse osmosis in science class, and school, and
yeah, I couldn't tell you the details.
I did not.
But apparently it's
one bit of that information in.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So, but I go to Whole Foods and I buy it from there because they have like an industrial size water, just water, whatever you call those things.
A reverse osmosis machine.
Yeah, like I can fill up my jug.
Okay.
With this big, so I feel like because it's a commercial grade, it's all stainless steel, it just looks like there's no plastic in it, which I'm sure there's plastic everywhere. But everybody always says, why don't you just get one in your house? Because you can buy those ones where there's a tank underneath your sink, and then there's a little spout that they put on your thing. But those tanks have a plastic lining.
Oh my gosh, no kidding. Inside.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I have looked, if anybody knows of a glass tank or a stainless steel tank for RO system, I'll buy it. Because the only reason I don't put one in my house is because those freaking tanks, you filter the water, you make this really clean water, and then you put it in a tank that's plastic and you let it sit. So it doesn't make any sense to me. It's super annoying. Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Getting away from plastic is like the hardest thing.
That's crazy. Well, do you think, have you ever ventured out to ask anyone at the Whole Foods if the inside of their machine has plastic?
No, because I don't want to know.
You don't want to know.
No.
That's how I felt about the stevia. I finally bit the bullet and asked.
Yeah. Because if it's not, which I'm sure it's not, I'm sure there's plastic tube in it. There's probably a plastic container in there that the water's sitting in, right?
Do you think, could that be considered ultra processed water?
Good point. Yes. Touche, sir. Touche.
See, nobody's safe.
Yeah.
Go drink out of the lake. Yeah. That's your best bet, except for all those flesh-eating bacteria.
Interesting. Going back to like hormesis, right? Like if you go to, we'll just say Mexico, not to pick on Mexico, but if you go to Mexico and you drink the water, you might get sick.
Oh yeah.
Right. But the people who live in Mexico, they don't get sick.
Right.
Right. Because you can adapt to it. And that's kind of goes back to that like hormetic effect. Like you could make an argument.
Yeah. You could eventually get used to it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think there needs to be a distinction there because believe it or not, I've thought about this way more than anybody ever should. But when it comes to chemicals, I don't think your body does as good of a job because it builds up.
Okay.
And it's hard to get rid of. Right. So you really want to stay away from chemicals, but something like bacteria, your immune system becomes more robust and can handle those things.
Okay.
The chemicals, our bodies just don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
The liver can kind of filter out a lot of that stuff, but if you overload it,
sticks with you.
It can stick with you and cause a lot of problems.
Okay.
That's what scares me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
man, we went off on
I like it. It's
like plastic.
Yeah. It's flowing, man. Because I was thinking about I was making a joke about if you drink the lake water, you get the flesh-eating bacteria.
Oh yeah.
And you were saying bacteria, but then I was thinking, well, what does Ozempic do? Does that eat the flesh? How does that work?
Ozempic.
Yeah. What
man,
does that do?
That is the drug of the day, man.
I thought about
everybody's on it.
I was like, it just a couple of weeks maybe.
Yeah.
And jumpstart.
It's true. People are losing weight like crazy.
What does it do?
It's crazy. I've heard that the processed food companies are freaking out because their revenue is going down. Because one of the things it does is it stops your appetite.
Oh, okay.
It's like an appetite suppressant.
Gotcha.
So people are not eating as much as they used to, and it's freaking out the food companies. Whether that's true or not, I'm not sure, but people are losing a whole lot of weight.
Yeah.
But I think anytime you factor in something like a medication, there's always side effects. And we know for a fact that there are side effects.
Do you know any of the Ozempic side effects?
Yeah.
Give me some.
Digestion issues. It's really bad for your stomach.
What's it do?
I don't know the specifics of it, but I worked with a guy who was on Ozempic and he had serious issues.
Lines up with a layer of plastic.
Yeah, right.
Turns it into
knowing nothing gets absorbed.
Our own machines.
You just lose weight like crazy.
Yeah.
There's digestive issues, but you can look on the internet. You can see it's not foolproof, but it does work. A lot of people are on it.
Yeah.
I kind of think of it like health hacks again, right? Maybe there's a time and a place. If you're someone who's severely obese, I think maybe that's a great way to kind of get yourself kicked off. But it's the easy thing to do. And if you want to be healthy, you have to do the hard stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is it going to be? I feel like it would be I don't know. I imagine that there's a lot of people that would get a tummy tuck.
Yeah.
And then 6 months later, need another one.
Yes.
Or a year later,
that's
whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sure I could see that happening. If you won the lottery and you weren't good with money, then it would all be gone.
Yeah.
Like it would happen if I had won the lottery, So,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a real thing.
yeah.
Yeah. People go on Ozempic, they go off because of side effects, and then they gain the weight back. That's real.
That's why I haven't used it, because I don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
I want it to be sustainable.
Yeah.
So,
Well, yeah. I mean, let's face it. Like, everybody's looking for the magic pill, right? And let's say even I want to ask you this:
okay.
if there was a magic pill, let's say it was Ozempic, but no side effects,
Okay.
right? Like the only thing was that you lost body fat and you got down to a level that you were really happy at, right? So aesthetically, you look great.
Okay.
But you don't have, you're not doing any exercise. You don't have to eat good. Like none of those things. It's just kind of the easy pill. Would you do that? No judgment.
And I can have ice cream?
You can have whatever you want.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck yeah, you totally do it.
Yep. Yeah. Forever?
Forever.
Like, oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, and I wonder.
I would like to think that I would do some active things, but oh, yeah.
There'd be
no
much less drive.
No hesitation. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I get that.
So,
yeah.
But
I think that's where it's going, to be quite honest.
Really?
Yeah. I think eventually we'll probably get this thing figured out with AI and with new technology and stuff. I think someday, maybe not in our lifetime, but you might be able just to take a pill and just sustain your weight.
That, or we'll all like have a robot avatar and we'll sit behind a screen.
Yeah.
And he'll be super ripped,
Yeah. But then, we right now I think it's kind of odd man out if you're in good shape and you're kind of healthy as a guy over 40 nowadays. Like that's not normal.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So yeah, it's going to be even more abnormal probably to be like super fit and super in shape if they come up with a magic pill that literally works with no side effects.
So what would be like a good health hack to like start to lose weight? If like you or me trying to transition out of eating all that shit for like a year to like going into like working out again and then trying to eat right most of the time, 80% of the time at least, what would be a good health hack to begin?
If you wanted to like really accelerate it, like if you want to lose weight pretty quickly and you want to do it in the healthiest way, which is not always the fastest way, but if you want to do it the healthiest way, go 100% meat, veggie, nuts, seeds, and fruit.
Okay.
100%. Like don't give yourself the 80. The healthiest way. Yeah, because that's what we're looking for.
Say it again.
The healthiest.
I mean, not that part. The food part. I always want to memorize it because you say it.
Go 100%.
No, the food where you help meat,
veggies, nuts, seeds, and fruit.
Meat, veggies, nuts, seeds, and fruit.
Meat, veggies, nuts, seeds, fruit. Yeah, I tell all my clients like memorize this, write it down, put it on your fridge, make it your screensaver on your phone. Meat, veggie, nuts, seeds, and fruit. Meat, veggie, nuts, seeds, and fruit. I've said it so many times that it's like one word for me.
I know. Every time you say it, I'm like, I need to memorize that. Like that.
Meat, veggies, nuts, seeds, and fruit.
Meat, veggies, nuts, seeds, and fruit.
Yeah, 80% of the time, that's where you can literally live your life without a bunch of extra body fat. And if you add in some exercise, you can become incredibly fit.
Okay.
And that's your healthiest self.
Now, what can ruin that? Like if I'm eating nuts, like I try not to eat salted nuts, but what about the ones, I think some of them have oils, they're cooked in oils, aren't they?
Yeah.
So where do you have to go to like Whole Foods to get the proper nuts? Are there places that do? I don't like Walmart. I don't think even has unsalted nuts. But
yeah, it's crazy.
What places? What kind of nuts are you looking for?
It's so hard to find good nuts. And you won't find it here.
We only have 3 between us. So.
You won't find it here. Yeah. You know what? If you're overweight and like priority number 1 is like, I got to lose some weight, I wouldn't worry too much about that.
Okay.
Again, that's kind of like the next level.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you're right. If you want to do it the healthiest way, I think then get off the roasted, because that generally is the one that they roast in oils. Okay. And then, they always salt them.
But they just call them raw?
Yeah.
Just raw.
Raw, unsalted.
Do you know what? I've heard that peanuts raw are really poisonous or something. Is that true? Do you know about that?
Peanuts actually have one of the highest levels of mold.
Okay.
Corn and coffee are the other ones.
So would you stay away from corn?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Corn, I don't know. It goes in a lot of stuff that's weird, like corn syrup.
Yeah. I feel like it's garbage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's not, it fits in the meat, veggie, nuts, seeds, and fruit, but I don't.
No offense to Nebraska.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty much garbage.
big corn's coming after us. It's going to be plastic and big corn tuning up after. They're going to force us to drink unfiltered milk.
Unfiltered milk. Out of plastic bottles.
Yeah.
They're going to heat our milk in plastic.
Yeah.
It's going to be awful.
Oh, okay. And then what was the other one? Peanut. So are you anti-peanut? I mean, bring them on, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not anti-peanut. Yeah. Believe it or not, a peanut is a bean.
Okay.
So it's actually not even a nut.
Is it a legume? Is that
legume.
Is that what beans are?
Yeah.
What the hell is a legume?
It's a starchy thing, which is a little bit different than a nut or a seed. But I mean, it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
It's in the prescription, but I don't eat them.
You're stuck on an island. You're still going to work out.
Yeah.
You got nothing else but peanuts and potatoes.
I'm going potatoes.
All right.
Yeah. I'm going for potatoes.
Yeah.
The Irish.
Yeah.
They lived on potatoes for a while.
I love potatoes.
Yeah. But yeah, the other thing is salt. If you're trying to lose weight, a lot of the foods are salted.
Mm-hmm.
When I worked in the sport of weightlifting, it was a weight class sport. So meaning that athletes they would compete at a specific weight class.
Okay.
And usually they would have to lose some weight to get into the weight class that they want to compete at.
Sure.
Right. So before a competition, obviously we weigh them and then we'd be like, okay, you need to lose 3 pounds. So we would have them just go 100% meat, veggie, nuts, seeds, and fruit.
Okay.
Primarily, I would have them stay away from fruit as much as possible. We wouldn't ixnay because we really didn't need to. We weren't losing a lot of weight. So, and it worked always. And then one time this kid shows up and he's like 6 pounds heavier. And he's like, dude, I was doing everything right. Meat, veggies, fruit. And so I'm talking to him and he went to Chipotle and he ate all meat, veggie, nuts, seeds, and fruit in a bowl. Right. So he did it right. And we found out that like the sodium content in there was off the charts. Yeah. It was like 10,000 milligrams of sodium. And when you eat a lot of salt, you hold on to a lot of water, which is normal. That's healthy because that's your body's way of processing it. But you have to be a little bit careful of the salt. If you're going to eat a high salt diet, and a lot of people don't even know they're doing it, it's hidden everywhere. That's
been one of my troubles recently too.
Yeah. Your weight loss is going to look like this, right? I mean, you want it to generally trend downward, but expect to be on a bunch of looks like the stock market. It gets kind of crazy.
Yeah. When I was really into it, like as I would go and I'd find those plateaus, salt was one of the things I lowered significantly.
Yeah.
And then that really made a difference. I remember. And that's when I stopped because I mean, salted nuts are by far way more delicious than the raw.
So addicting.
But I try not to eat them because they're just so much. Even the lightly salted ones there's so much.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of like it's hard to overeat a raw unsalted nut.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's something about just the way Mother Nature made it. We just don't tend to overeat it. If we can get people, like I can't tell you how many times, like we never have to count calories if I just get people to eat real food.
What's your favorite kind of nut?
Yeah, I generally don't eat a lot of nuts because I've got, I would say, a mild allergic reaction.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick one, probably like pecan.
Yeah, pecans are pretty good.
So I'm pretty low dose. I don't avoid them completely, but I'm low dose.
Okay.
If I overdo it, I notice it. My eyes get red.
Any veggies? What's your favorite veg?
To be honest, I don't like vegetables that much. I don't eat a lot of vegetables.
Just ground beef for you.
I eat a lot of meat.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
People are shocked.
You're like a carnivore. Carnivore diet.
I'm pretty close, but I do eat a lot of fruit.
Okay.
Love fruit.
What's your favorite?
Bananas and apples.
I love
grapes. I like them all.
Yeah,
so good. Yeah.
Which ones have the most, get you the most?
If you put the CGM on, will it spike it?
Which one will spike it?
Bananas and apples, probably. Grapes.
Kiwis.
I don't know about kiwi. Kiwi, I think, has some oils in it. Might keep it down a little bit. Yeah.
What about mangoes? You ever try mangoes?
Love mangoes. Yeah.
What about avocado?
High fat.
Yeah.
Although a fruit.
So it's good or bad?
Yeah, really good. Yeah. Again, I think that, people for so long we've been told that fat is bad. Fat is not bad. And I'm living proof. I've been eating a high fat diet for almost 20 years.
Wow. Yeah.
People get shocked. I'll eat a pound of ground beef a day.
Wow.
Sometimes more.
How many calories would you say is in a pound of ground beef? Do you have any idea?
I don't even know. People think I should know that. I have no idea.
Can I look that up?
Yeah. I haven't counted a freaking calorie in so many years. Let's take a guess. What do you think? What do you think it is? Let's make a guess.
2,500.
2,500.
Oh, I could be.
I'm going to go with
1,000.
I'm going to go with 1,500.
Okay.
What do you think? Let us know. Let us know in the comments.
Yeah. Pause this, and then we'll be back with an answer. How many calories?
Because man, and it's addicting. Like I love it so much. I could eat so much of it, and I do eat so much of it.
I have a question. Is the fat percentage of ground beef going to affect the calories?
Yeah, for sure.
So what percentage?
Good question. Let's go. I always go 85.
85.
I go full in on the fat.
Well, then I'm going to go 1,500 calories. No, I'm just kidding. Okay.
What did you say? You said 2,500, right?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that can't be right?
I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. Pound of ground beef, 85%, 15% fat. What do we got?
Oh, only 975.
975.
That's nothing.
We both busted. We both went over.
Well,
yeah. And let me tell you, you eat a pound of meat, you don't got to worry about being hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm good. Like the whole day. Like I have to almost like I'll eat that, and then I won't eat anything else for the day.
What time?
I almost have to force myself to eat more.
What time would you eat that?
Depends. Sometimes for lunch and dinner.
Okay.
So
like half pound both.
Sometimes two.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's still like
if I'm working out a lot.
You wouldn't even be getting the calorie count that I would have tried to get when I was doing the macro diet.
Yeah.
You'd still need some more.
It's lower than I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you said
me too.
When you said 975?
975.
That's low.
85.
Yeah, that would make sense. That would make sense.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does salt add calories?
No.
What is it? What the hell is a calorie?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Man, we could do a whole podcast on that. Because well, let me ask you, what do you think a calorie is?
I don't know, some made up term by the Chinese government.
You're right. Here we go.
Okay, things are taking a turn. Let's talk about chemtrails. Okay, sorry. I'm just kidding.
Calorie is it's a measurement of heat.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Measurement of heat.
That's why it doesn't make any sense when people say like you kind of assume that a calorie is like a thing, like an object.
Yeah. Right?
Like that you put in your body. And it's not, it has no mass. It's a measurement of heat. Like it requires this amount of kilocalories of heat. It takes 3,500 calories of heat to completely combust 1 pound of fat.
Okay.
So if you take a pound of fat and you put it in something called a bomb calorimeter, which is basically just like this globe that keeps all the heat inside. You can measure it very accurately. You take a pound of fat and you stick it in a bomb calorimeter. It'll take 3,500 calories of heat to be able to completely combust that.
Okay.
But here's the stretch. Yeah, here's the stretch.
So are you saying, if you burn 3,500 calories, do you burn a pound of fat or something? Is that kind of...
That's the correlation. But
okay.
That's a stretch.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
No.
I wouldn't know. I'm stupid.
Yeah, because we're not bomb calorimeters, right? We're very...
Believe you.
Yeah, we're very inefficient. Like to burn 3,500 calories in excess doesn't mean it's going to all be from fat. It could be from all kinds of different things. It doesn't have to be from fat.
How long would you have to do a normal workout to burn 3,500 calories?
It depends what you're doing and the intensity.
Like,
it's too many variables.
What's the fastest you could do it? Like an hour? I mean, 2 hours?
I don't know. Like, again, I don't track calories, so I'm
not sure. That would take forever.
I don't know, man. I mean, it probably would take a while. But again, intensity plays it. If you're working at a really high intensity, you could probably do it faster than if you just went for a long, slow jog.
Yeah.
But not a lot of people can work at a high intensity because they're not fit enough.
Yeah.
They'll die before they get there.
I would die before I could burn 300, I think. But
yeah.
So,
but don't. I think if I could give everybody a tip, stop thinking about calories. If I had it my way, I would eliminate the word calories from the vocabulary. I would eliminate carbohydrates, proteins, and fats for normal people.
Okay.
People that want to lose weight, just put that word out of your vernacular. Like it's no longer even part of the conversation.
Now, when you tell me to not think about calories, I'm thinking about calories. And I got a question. Just one more.
You bring it.
All right. If a calorie is a measurement of heat, what the hell is the difference between the calorie content in ice cream versus the calorie content in a boiling hot steak?
Well, calorie content doesn't make any sense, right? Because it's not filled up with calories.
I mean, don't they say like this has, this scoop of ice cream has 300 calories and this, I guess be about a third of a steak have 300 calories.
So it would require 300 calories of energy to combust.
So that's what that means.
Yeah.
Whoa. You just blew my mind.
Yeah.
What? I thought it was wow.
Yeah.
You can't learn that shit just anyway.
Well, you can, but it's been, the term has been,
I've been around a long time.
Yeah.
I've never had it explained to me like that. That's
nutrition is a disaster. And I think chasing calories is one of the biggest mistakes we've gone down.
Yeah.
For normal people that just want to be healthy.
So, okay.
Eat real food, exercise, lift heavy stuff,
What is
build your endurance?
What's ketosis?
That's, so your body has different ways of deriving energy.
Okay.
Right. So in order for us to survive and to live and to breathe and do everything that we do, we need energy. And your body can have, typically speaking, there's 3 sources of energy. The first one is carbohydrates, sugar, right? Our body runs on sugar primarily. Okay. The second one is fat, right? So our body can run on.
What would happen if you never had any sugar?
We'll get into that.
Okay.
And the third one is protein. So if you go into like a starvation state, your body will eat its muscle to survive. Okay. Right. So if you're, So when you go into ketosis, the thinking is you want to completely deplete the carbohydrate, the sugar gas tank.
Okay.
And if you completely deplete that, and it never really fully depletes, but when you deplete it down enough, your body starts burning fat for energy.
Okay.
Right. So when you're in ketosis, you can actually measure your blood and measure the amount of ketones that are in your body. So when your body is utilizing fat for energy, ketones are kind of the energy source. That's what the fat kind of breaks into, if you will.
So that's when your body's eating the fat instead of the muscle.
So when you're in ketosis and you measure your blood, you can actually see that your ketone levels can be at different levels.
And that's like measuring blood instead of like a glucometer or whatever.
Yeah.
That would be a little more intense.
So like a diabetic does blood sugar, you can do ketones.
Okay.
I know a lot of the testers will do both. So
can you do it with one of those things on your arm?
No, not that I know of. I don't think so.
I'm putting that down for.
But you can buy a ketone tester on Amazon for like $35.
Does it have to prick you?
Yeah. You got to get blood.
Tester.
Yeah. So that's kind of the interesting thing is like you can see if your body is as a percentage. Like if you think of like the way that your body derives energy or percentages, right? So let's just say 60% comes from carbohydrates and 40% come from fats. You're probably not going to be using any protein if you're eating. So if you're not starving, right? So you can shift those percentages. You could go 60% fat,
okay,
right? And you can measure that by the ketones, right? And then only 40%. So that's what ketosis is, or that's what the keto diet is meant to shift your energy source from carbohydrates to being more fat dominant.
And that's a good thing.
There's debate. I think you could make some arguments on both ends of it. I think there's value in having both of those.
Okay.
Because if you think of like survival states, when you're not able to eat, like let's go back 500 years, right? You got to hunt for your food. Sometimes it's hard and maybe it's cold outside. There's nothing growing. So you have to go hunt for your food. It's your body's survival mechanism to be able to tap into fat stores when all of your glucose has been depleted. Now, again, you're never going to be devoid of glucose. It's always going to be running because your liver makes it. Okay. But you'll be able to kind of shift over and still be able to hunt for food using fats.
Okay.
But think of them as like 2 different engines, right? You've got your glucose engines, you've got your fat engines, right? Okay. So the engines that run on fat and the engines that run on carbohydrates. For us Americans living in society today, most of our lives, probably 100% of our lives, we're deriving most of our energy from that glucose engine. That thing's revving up 100% all the time.
Okay.
Constantly, right? Because we're so full of carbohydrates.
Yeah.
So if we try to get someone in ketosis, you're going to feel awful.
Really?
Yeah. If you've never been there before, and they even call it the keto flu. Like if you get someone in ketosis, they're like, this is terrible. Like it just feels.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
But if you're there long enough, your body can adapt and be okay there. I think the health.
Is there any way to ease into it so you don't get that flu?
You could, because there's different levels of ketones. But I find that, and this is for everybody, at least in my experience, if you start to get into ketosis, sometimes all it takes is just a little bit of glucose and you're out.
Okay.
It shifts very quickly.
Gotcha.
So if you can adapt like anything else, like think of this back to the hormetic effect, right? There's a hormetic effect of
going into ketosis.
Of going into ketosis, right? Especially if you've never been there before. And then we get into this term called metabolically flexible. I think the most healthy people are able to transition back and forth with ease.
Okay.
Right? It's like shifting gears without any grinding. Like it's just, your body just naturally kind of shifts. And that's where you get into, like, you hear people talking about doing workouts fast. They're trying to work out in a more fat dominated kind of, they're trying to use that engine.
Yeah.
Right. So they might go for 24 hours and then they'll do a really hard workout. And the thinking is they're not using glucose for energy. They're using more fat. And they're training that system.
Drop the fat quicker that way.
Yeah. And just from a health perspective, even if you don't want to just lose weight, it's a healthy thing to be able to do that.
Okay.
Right? A very healthy person can go back and forth very easily. And I used to do that on Fridays. I wouldn't eat from like 1 o'clock. And then we always had like a really hard workout, a really long, brutal workout at like 10 o'clock. So I would go in and I would do that fasted. No problem.
Really?
Yeah. Like no food, no problem. Yeah. So you can, but other people that would try it would feel awful. But if they stuck with it, they'd be good.
So if I started eating meats, veggies, nuts, seeds, and fruit exclusively, would that put me into some state of ketosis, or would it have to be a certain amount of each? Like I would have to focus on, like no fruits or veggies.
Yeah, you basically have to go zero carb.
Okay.
It's pretty hard to get in ketosis.
Gotcha.
Yeah, people talk about like, oh, I was on the keto diet for a long time. Like, oh, were you measuring your blood? Like, no. It's a pain in the ass. Like, no judgment. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
But most people don't get into ketosis.
For me,
really be diligent with it.
When I was doing it, it was everything in the keto, on the shelves that said keto on it had sugar in it. So I was like, nope.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Like
it's all bullshit.
Yeah.
True ketosis, you'll test it. You'll know. You'll feel different.
You'll know when you have the flu.
Yeah. Especially if you've never been in ketosis before, you'll feel different. You can get there with long-term fasting. That's a fast way to get into it. Like if you fast for, it depends on the person. So say just generally 72 hours.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it takes a while. Yeah. But if you don't eat any food for 72 hours, that's how long it takes for your glucose system to deplete enough where you really start deriving energy from fat.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the fastest way. Like if you were just to try to get into ketosis using the ketogenic diet, it would probably take some weeks. Again, depending on the person.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. But anyways, I think we covered a lot.
Yeah, we covered.
Let's probably wrap this up. We got more to cover.
Yeah.
Covered all kinds of cool
stuff.
stuff.
On the next episode.
Let's do it on the next
episode.
episode.
Just have to wait.
Yeah. And if anybody's got any questions on any of this stuff, make sure you post it in the comments.
Yeah.
Like Wes will get back to you and let you know exactly what you should be doing.
Yeah.
But other than that,
the opposite.
Yeah.
Like,
but get out there and do something hard. Get out there and exercise. Fix your diet. Meat, veggie, nuts, seeds, and fruit. Forget about the calories and the carbohydrates and the proteins and the fats. You don't need to know all that stuff unless you're a scientist in a lab with a lab coat and pipettes and whatever else scientists use.
Yeah. You
don't need that stuff. And I'm living proof you don't need that stuff. So do something hard. Build your foundations. Man, let's build an army of badass 40 plus year olds.
The healthiest.
Yeah. I'm already building them, but we want more.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
We need some better examples than me.
You're on the road.
We're getting there. Yeah.
Adios.
All right.